Hi there, Ray here, and today we will take a look at broke gamers and rich gamers. In this video we will see how their systems look like, what are their systems capable of. We will try to find out how much money a broke gamer and a rich gamer spends on their system, and in the end we will take a look at the differences they have at gameplay, and we will see who is the winner at broke versus rich gamers. And of course the rich PC wins because you have a lot more money, but the broke PC has a couple tricks too, so if you want to know more about that, stay tuned. And let's start at broke versus rich, and what better way to start the video than to start with my fellow broke friends. And here we have players that don't need the best, here we have players that don't know what 4K means, here we broke player don't have FPS, here we have SPF, and for all of the people who don't know what those letters mean, FPS means frame per second, SPF seconds per frame. Here we don't measure how many frames per second you have, here we measure how many seconds it take to get a frame. Okay, I might have taken it too far, but you should know that as long as the game can run on that system, the system is good. That is how we know if the system is worth it, and how much the system is worth. And when it comes to how much the broke players spend on their system, well, you might have gotten a hint from the name, broke player. They don't spend a lot, but if they are good gamers, even though they don't spend a lot of money on their system, they are really smart with their money. And that's why they are happy. Maybe, okay, they want the rich people's PC too, but we have what we have, and it is good enough. Probably not, but that is beside the point. The broke player will cut corners when building a PC, and they will cut every corner that is possible. And let's see how they manage to be broke and still have a good system. First, they don't choose when finding parts, they don't look for the latest and greatest, they look for used and cheap parts that are still capable. That's how they save money. So they don't buy pre-built systems, they make their own system, and that is how they save a lot of money. I mean, let's be honest, if you build the PC yourself with used parts you can save hundreds of dollars, and when you are broke you will save every single dollar you can so you can have the best performance per buck, and sometimes the things can end up just perfect. You have a $1,200 system, but since you made it with used parts you spend like $600, and then you have the times when the parts you get, they just don't work, or sometimes they are not compatible, and the worst, you break something because you don't have experience, and that is sad. Imagine this scenario. You buy your parts, you get them after weeks of waiting, and when you finally get them, you spend hours building your PC, because you are watching YouTube videos on how to build a PC, and then it does not boot. Yeah, when that happens it is just sad. But like I said, we will try to cut every corner we can when buying a PC, and it's not that we don't want to spend money on PC, we just don't have that much money. Because let's be honest, we will spend all of our money on that PC, and we will get whatever is the best thing we can get, that's all. So, how does this PC look like? And the corners we cut are these. First the case, second RBG, third fans. And when we cut corner on this things you can guess that the PC doesn't look good, but we don't need the best case with the best fans, because since we don't have a high performance system it doesn't run hot, so we don't usually need that. And RBG. And when I say we don't spend a lot of money on RBG, I mean we don't spend a single cent on RBG. It doesn't help the system run faster, so we don't need it. But we spend money on the processor and graphics card, so even though it is bad on the outside, it is beautiful on the inside, so it has more performance, and honestly there is where all of our money goes. A little RAM, some SSD, because SSD helps a lot at everything, and then graphics card and a good processor, and this looks good and is capable. But since right now we're talking about the parts and how they look, we will leave the performance for a little bit later, and now let's see how the rich people's PC looks like, and they don't compromise. Why would you compromise when you can have everything? So yeah, the rich kids, they have the latest and greatest. Nowadays they have the latest processor with an RTX 4090 in there. I mean, if you had the money, why wouldn't you? And when it comes to looks, they just buy what is the best in the market. But then they still buy great looking PC cases, and they don't really care. They will buy even RBG, and the more RBG the better. So their system looks good, and they don't even put up with finding the parts or building the PC. They just go and find the best pre-build. Yeah, they buy pre-build, those lazy people, and in the end they have the best system money can buy. So yeah, if you were guessing the rich kid's PC looks better than the broke PC, you were right, but that's the outside look. Now let's see what's in the inside. Are those parts even good? Do they get the job done? And with that said, let's take a look at the broke PC again, and we said that they don't care how the PC looks as long as it performs, and it performs good. It can run all the games you want to play. It runs all the programs you might want to use for any kind of work, and the reason is simple. They have a good GPU and a good CPU, and this combination is good. Combine that with 16 gigabytes of RAM and some SSD storage. It runs fast, and I know you will not have the latest GPU, but if you are playing in 1080p, and in most cases you will, because if you are on the cheap you cannot afford a better monitor, a GTX 1660 Ti or GTX 1660 Super is still a good card and you can do a lot better, but even those old graphics cards are still capable. It can run almost anything. And since you have a good processor, the system will not be the bottleneck, even if in the future you can upgrade the graphics card. So this system is not the best looking, but it is good in the inside. It has a lot of performance, and since we cut corners in the case fans and RBG, this is a good, cheap, and a capable PC. And now let's see the inside of Rich Gamer's PC. And what do we have here? And like we said, it looks really good outside, but when we see inside, it is even better. Just look at that thick RTX 4090, it has the latest processor. But what is this PC capable of? And it can do everything. It can run games, and it runs games really good. And you can do any kind of work in this system. It just has a lot of performance. And you might say, well, the broke PC did everything too, and you would be right. But this system does everything, and it does it a lot better. It runs games better. It can even run games at 4K. And yeah, the broke PC can do everything good and it is smooth, but this does everything better and even smoother. So this PC has no compromise. It is beautiful in the outside and in the inside. Isn't that just great? But with that said, how much do they actually pay for their PC? And the numbers are not the same for everyone, as you might know, but most of the broke gamers spend money like this. So let's just see around how much they spend on that system. And like we said, they don't spend a lot of money on the case and on the fans, so those together are around $100 or even less. But even the broke gamers don't go a lot cheaper than that. Then they spend around $200 on RAM and storage. And don't get me wrong, these are important, but if you go with more storage, it will just be more storage, and it doesn't matter when it comes to performance. And if you buy more RAM than you need, it just doesn't matter. But here is when things get interesting. When it comes to the GPU and the CPU, the broke player will spend anywhere around $400 to whatever amount of money they have. This is where most of our money goes. And there are good reasons for that. There are two main reasons for that. First, since we are spending money on the GPU, it will run games better and it will be a relevant card for a longer time. And since we spend a lot of money on the processor, that means that the system will be smooth. And second, when we upgrade, it doesn't matter what, the CPU will not be the bottleneck. So this is a really easy system that can be upgraded over time. So if we take 100 plus 200 plus 300, it is around $700 per system, and I am taking into account if we build our own systems. So if you build your PC, it will be a great PC. But if you buy it pre-built, it will cost you a lot more. And since we are just talking about pre-builds, let's go to the rich kid, because he buys this kind of PCs, the pre-built one. And they spend a lot of money on the case. They spend even more money on storage and RAM. And they don't even care about money when it comes to the GPU and CPU. But since it is pre-built, it is even more than the original price. That's why we are not mentioning the price of the parts. But the system is around $4,500 to $5,000. And the reason why they spend around $5,000 on their system is simple. There are not more things that help your system go faster and look better above that price point. So they will have the latest CPU with God knows how many performance cores. They will have the RTX 4090, because why not? It is the best even. Though this kids will probably just play Minecraft, so they don't even need it, but that's beside the point. When it comes to storage, they don't even know what gigabyte is, because they only buy storage that has terabytes in it, and they go with 128 gigabytes of RAM, again because why not? If they can buy it, they will get it, and it is as simple as that. They have unlimited money to spend, so why not get the best? And let's be honest, we would all go for the best if money was not an issue for us broke people. But it doesn't matter, because even the cheap things nowadays are good, and they can run everything. But we are not talking about broke people now. Now we are talking about the rich kids, and they spend $5,000 on a $2,500 system because they don't want to find the parts and build it themselves. But even with all of that, when we play games, does it actually make that big of a difference? And that is a good question, because right now we will compare them in performance and in gameplay. That's how good games run on the system, and does it actually give you an advantage on a competitive level? And yeah, since you are getting the best, you will have more performance in the rich boy's PC. But do you need that? Does it actually help you play better? Will you enjoy games more? Will it help you on a competitive level? And the answer is a little more complicated than you might think, so stay tuned for that. And when it comes to games, the expensive system, it helps you in it. Doesn't in the same time. So what do I mean by saying then? Well, just hear me. First, it doesn't matter because, let's be honest, if you are playing a first-person shooter game, then you will not need a 4K display. You will just need a good image, good input, and a high frame rate, and the cheap PC gives you all of that. And in the rich people's PC, you have that and more. But what does more mean? Well, that means you can play at 4K, and you maybe have a better quality monitor, but it doesn't help you as much as you think, and sometimes it doesn't even make a difference. So yeah, when it comes to gameplay, even though the cheap PC can do everything, since the expensive PC does everything better, we will give this win to the expensive PC. But honestly, I don't think this is a win, it's more like a draw, but the expensive PC does run everything better. And now let's see what's the best overall. And I know I said in the start of the video that the expensive PC is better, but now things might change, and if you want to know more about that, hear me out. So again, let's just take a really quick look at what can the cheap and expensive PC do. So the cheap PC can run games without any problem. It can do any kind of work, and when it comes to everyday work like watching videos or movies, browsing the web, it is just as smooth as the expensive PC. You will not notice a difference, so it is really good. It might look bad, but it is good. And now what did we have at the expensive PC? And here we can manage playing games. Here we can do any kind of work, and when it comes to everyday work, it is smooth. But we had these things at the cheap PC too, so why spend all of that money? Well, even though both can do everything, this expensive PC does everything better. The games will be smoother, they can run at 4K. When it comes to real work like rendering and stuff like that, it will just do everything faster and better. And with this said, you would be right thinking that the expensive PC is better. But in my honest opinion, I just cannot give the win to the expensive PC. And the reason is simple, it does everything better, yeah, I will give you that. But the price gap is so big, I just cannot justify spending that much money on that expensive PC. And for that reason, I will declare the winner, and the winner in my opinion is the cheap PC, even though the expensive PC is better. I hope that makes sense to you. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's okay. And with that said, we are nearing the end of this video, so if you like this video, like, if you didn't, dislike, and if you want to see more videos like this and more tech related videos, don't forget to subscribe, and comment down below what does your setup have and what other content do you want to see in this channel, and I might cover it. And with that said, this was Ray, and I will see you in the next one.